and I was so surprised. I didn't do a lot of research, but it's such a beautiful place. Oldest, longest and most complete city walls in Britain. Yeah, I'm really happy. It's such a great day. It wasn't the most scenic stretch of our hike, to say the least. Another milestone. We are in Wales now. I find it quite hard to wild camp.
Hi, my name is Ellie. I'm a long distance hiker and backpacker. With my rescue dog Otto, I'm currently hiking the length of Britain from Scotland to Cornwall. Come join us for days 69 and 70, where we walked a bit of the Wales coast path from Chester to Flint and on to Prestatyn.
I just got a coffee and took a little walk with Otto around Chester, and I was so surprised. I didn't do a lot of researching on the city because I didn't think I would spend my rest day here, but it's such a beautiful place. There are a lot of old buildings. You can even walk on the city wall. Up there there's a big cathedral. Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's one of those places where you just don't think a lot about it before, or I've never heard of the city before, so I didn't expect much, so to say, but I'm so pleasantly surprised. Yeah, really looking forward to exploring the place a little bit in the afternoon. I did some research this afternoon and I'm now back exploring, because it turns out that Chester has the oldest, longest and most complete city walls in Britain, which is incredible. Some parts are actually almost 2000 years old, and it's also the only city in the UK apparently where you can do a full tour around the city wall. So you can actually walk, like I'm doing now, on the city walls and do a full tour around the city center, which is incredible. It's about 2 miles long. I left Otto at the Airbnb. He's asleep and I think it's good for him to rest a little bit, but I'm really happy that I get to explore the city a little bit more. Walking on the city walls, it's such a unique and special way to explore a city, and I'm really happy. It's such a great day. This is so interesting. There are even remains of a Roman settlement, like a theater over there and some gardens. This is such an interesting city. Good morning everyone, it's a new day and I'm feeling great. We had such a great rest day yesterday in Chester. It was just the perfect day, and one of those days where everything like turns out perfectly. And yeah, it started with our Airbnb, which was great. It was only, I think, like £30, which is amazing for what I got for for the money. Yeah, maybe it was because I didn't have like Chester on my list, on my sort of like bucket list, or I didn't read a lot on the city before. These small things that just made it perfect, like the Airbnb. Then there was a Tesco superstore. I don't have an option to go to a bigger supermarket oftentimes, and even if I do, I'm always in a rush because I don't want Otto to wait for me for too long outside, so I'm always in a rush. But this time there was a superstore just next to the apartment, so I could leave Otto in the apartment sleeping and just go food shopping and just look through everything and pick some great vegan food. And it's just a small thing, but it made me so happy and it was really, really nice, and I really enjoyed that. It was just the most perfect day and I'm really happy. And now we're gonna join the Wales coast path for 2 days to walk along it. It's mostly tarmac, I think, which is not ideal, but at least it's level walking, and we're gonna be on it for 2 days to walk to Prestatyn. Going to wild camp somewhere along the way today and go to Prestatyn tomorrow, and then start the Offa's-Dyke path from there, and yeah, walking across Wales. That's the plan for the next 2 weeks or so. I'm really excited to see the ocean later today, to walk along the coast. That's gonna be amazing. Really looking forward to that. So let's go! Oh, this is it! The border to Wales! Woohoo! Another milestone! We are in Wales now! After over 10 miles of road walking today and walking along hydro plants and everything, I'm at the coast. Ooh, I'm so happy. That's so nice. It's so nice to walk along the coast for a little bit. We just passed Flint on the coast path, and we have hiked for about 15 miles. It was really easy walking today. It was all flat. I think we'll walk another 4 miles. Yeah, maybe 1.5 hours. It's only 6 o'clock, and then I'm going to try and find a spot to wild camp for tonight. The main issue I'm having with wild camping is, especially if I'm taking Otto, is the fact that I have to pitch like quite late. It would be ideal to really pitch like once the sun has set, but in the summer month that's almost 10 p.m. and especially if I'm taking Otto with me, I find it quite hard to wild camp. If I would be on my own, I would just like do bigger days and hike till 8 or 9 p.m. but that means a lot of miles in a day and more miles that I want to do with Otto, so The issue is always that if we're doing like 15, 18 miles, even if we start late, we're done by 4 p.m. and then you just have to sit around, and if the weather isn't great, it's really hard, or if there's no pub or anything open, so you just have to like sit around. If it's sunny like today, it's still okay, but if it's cold or rainy, there's no pub, it's quite hard to just sit around and wait. Otto is used to hiking, so he knows that we're only like done once the tent goes up. So for him, I find it's very hard for him to really relax and fall asleep if the tent's not up yet. So if we stop hiking at 4 o'clock and then just sit around until 9 or 10 p.m, that's very hard for him, because he doesn't get as much rest as he would need, or as much rest as I want him to have. So that's the main issue. It's not really, I'm not afraid of wild camping, and I didn't have any issues before, but just the fact that you want to be as discreet as possible. It's hard because you can't set up the tent at 5 p.m. But with Otto, it would be great if I could set up the tent at 5 p.m. and I've did it before, but in like more build-up areas like this here, I don't feel comfortable, like especially if I can't hide somewhere like in a wooded area. I find it quite hard to pitch the tent at 5 p.m. I don't do that. It's way too exposed and everything, and so I'm always happy if there's a campsite, because for me that solves the main problem. It's not like the safety and not even the comfort thing of having a shower, but it's mainly so that Otto can really relax and knows that we're done for the day. I think it would be better if we could stop early, but it is what it is. Just thought I would talk about that a little bit, because I got quite a few questions on wild camping with Otto and how I do it. We made it to our camp spot for tonight. It's almost 8 o'clock and I've pitched the tent because I didn't see anyone for the last hour, so I thought I might just try it and hope that no one comes around to move us on. I'm gonna make dinner now and then I'm gonna go to sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. We set off about an hour ago from our camp spot and we're walking along the coast. We had a great night's sleep. It's so warm now at night, and it's really comfortable, but it wasn't very quiet. Once I set up the tent, I didn't see anyone for 1 or 2 hours, and I made dinner and there was no one around. But then at 8:30, 9 and even 9:30 there were like still people jogging by, walking their dogs, and I wasn't too discreet because you could see the tent through the trees. We have a Bit of a shorter day today again. It's only, I think, 14 miles and it's completely flat, as you can see. Walking along the coast, walking to Prestatyn, or just a little bit before that. I'm gonna stay in a campsite there to have a shower and to wash my clothes, and yeah, just plan my next days, because tomorrow I'm gonna walk that short bit to Prestatyn to start the Offersteig path there. So yeah, one last day of level walking before hitting the Offersteig path, which is, I think, very hilly again, with quite a lot of elevation. So I'm gonna enjoy that stretch along the coast even more today. Look at that! It's an old shipwreck. That's the Duke of Lancaster, and apparently it was built in 1955 and served as a ferry to Belfast for a bit over 20 years. Since the early 1980s, it's been anchored here on this beach, and I've read there have been plans of transforming the ship in a museum or even a hotel and a shopping center, but apparently it didn't really work out, or they didn't find investors for that. So yeah, it just stays here, and it looks very rusty on the outside, but apparently I've read that the inside is actually very well preserved. But I don't think that you can't go in, unfortunately. Time for breakfast and a coffee. Made it to the campsite. I'm really glad I got there, because it would have been very hard to find something, because the whole city, everything on the coast is like just one static caravan park after another, and yeah, it's really strange. I'm really glad to start a real national trail tomorrow, and to see a bit more of remote countryside or just anything, because the last 2 days wasn't the most scenic stretch of our hike, to say the least. For a few miles I walked along the coast, which was really great, but for the rest it's either walking along a towpath, which is also still okay, but then it was a lot of road walking, stuck between the railway on one side and then big industrial plants and industry buildings, recycling areas and everything on the other side, and you're just like stuck in between. So yeah, it wasn't a really great stretch, but yeah, it's part of the hike, part of the experience, and at least I can appreciate now the more remote parts even more. Going to make dinner and have an early bedtime. We'll see you tomorrow.